So, very good morning, and firstly, a very warm welcome to everyone watching our Business Spotlight interview series. My name is Ron Maycock. I'm the owner of Action Coach Castleford and also of Business Performance UK. And I'm delighted this morning to be joined by Claire Saxton and Daniel Tempest. Very good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Great to have you with us. Now, Claire and Daniel are co-directors of ST Plumbing and Heating Limited, and we're going to be hearing plenty more from them in just a few moments. Before we do that, though, I just really wanted to explain what the purpose of these interviews actually are. We're surrounded by some amazing businesses in our region. They're each on their own journeys, and these interviews help us share their stories, share their achievements, and also increase awareness of what they're actually doing. And we do that all in the name of abundance. So the more is the more, and the more people who get to hear about ST Plumbing and Heating, then the better for everyone. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Claire and to Daniel. If you want to tell me a little bit more about ST Plumbing and Heating.
So ST Plumbing's been running for 48 years this year. It was initially set up by my mum, and we kind of took over from there. Daniel's been here since leaving school. I've been running the admin side of things for the past 22 years coming up.
Excellent. And in terms of the business itself, then, what the name implies, obviously, plumbing and heating. Give me a breakdown. What's the business all about?
So what we provide is anything from general plumbing and heating, like toilets, taps, bathrooms, to high-end bespoke energy efficient systems. Anything that can be from just your average combination boiler right up to bespoke low temperature heating designs. We've also started touching into renewable energy as well at this moment in time.
Has that been obviously it's something that's very topical. Has that been very much a recent thing driven by initiatives done by the government or not done by the government about heat source pumps and the changes to things that they're floating around over the next few years, or was this an intended plan with or without that?
With or without that, definitely, because the problem you've got is you've got a lot of misinformation with the internet and all the. I think the grant schemes seem to be directional, kind of funneling people into making certain decisions, which aren't always necessarily the best decision for the homeowner or the property. And so what we try to do is, as with every aspect of his work, we try to stay in front of the curve, trying to make sure that we can offer our customers the best possible service that's available. Regardless of renewables did fall into that bracket, not necessarily what you'll hear on television or radio or all that kind of stuff, but it is a part of the industry that is very, very, very much needed. Mm-hmm. And so what we try to do is we try to stay in front of the technology and stay up to date, so we can give us customers the best service possible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the picture gives away, Daniel, that you're obviously out and about today. So geographically, where do you cover? Where's your main hub? Or are you not geographically centric at all?
Our main hub will always be within the local area, within a 25-mile radius of his office within Nottingham. However, as long as an agreement can be reached with a customer, we will travel anywhere. But obviously, our time on road is the most inefficient running part of any business because you're not making any money. So obviously, things like travel expenses have to be factored into working outside of his areas. But yeah, we're definitely not against it. I mean, we've worked as far as Grange over Sands or up that way, then over to East Coast. And like I say, but I think you've just got to be transparent with your customers about what you're charging for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And what's the size that you said you've been going for what, 48 years? And it started as a family business. So how big is the business now? How many people are involved with it? Is it still just the family, or have you got other people working as engineers in different functions?
Yeah, we've got other engineers. We always bring apprentices through as well, because we believe in that. Well, the apprentices are the people that are going to eventually take over, so they've got to be brought in, and we spend a lot of time investing time into apprentices as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it seems to be, uh, if I lumped it in terms of sort of construction based industries or associated industries with the sort of building sector, um, qualified and trusted employees is one of the bugbears that I hear from a lot of different people, I guess. So you said that it's everything from the renewable sector and also the more traditional markets in terms of everything from a tap right the way through. So where do you see the business going? Is the shift moving more towards renewables now as a balance, or are you still very busy with the traditional side?
The majority is the traditional side, because unfortunately, the downside to renewables will always be the cost of investment.
Mm-hmm.
And in the financial climate at this moment in time, people don't have 20 grand to throw at a central heating system. And that's a simple thing. I'd love to be able to design bespoke systems for every single customer that I have, but unfortunately, the financial climate just doesn't allow that.
No, absolutely.
Sometimes the brief is, I want hot water and heating. That's it.
Yeah. And in terms of that kind of work, are you working with suppliers? Do you work with certain manufacturers, or are you wholly independent where they pretty much tell you what they want, or you give a bit of advice, or are you tied into certain manufacturers as well?
No, we're not tied into it. We work as we do a lot of social media content creation for manufacturers, but we're not actually tied into manufacturers as such. Now, our designs are quite simply. There's a couple of different factors in design, which is you've got to take the property, you've also got to take the household, you've also got to take the budget, and sometimes you've got to come to a compromise on a couple of those factors. So every single job's individual, and you've got to sit down with your customer, and you've got to manage their expectations, and then you've got to figure out what they want. And because you could have 10 4-bedroom detached houses, and when you speak to the people that live within them, they may all require a slightly different thing. So you have to tailor what you do. Maybe use a different boiler because certain priorities need to be given to certain things, or different controls, or everything. You have to speak. But you only work this out by speaking with the customers.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I'm working with people, I talk a lot about something called a triangle of death, which is basically knowing who you are as a business. Are you based on quality? Are you based on speed? Are you based on price? Trying to be all things to all people normally, comes a cropper in terms of trying to do everything for everyone. So where do you sort of see your business? Are you based on speed of delivery? Is it price, or are you quality?
There is only one thing, and that is the quality.
Fantastic.
And we have in the past we've had to explain that we're probably not the correct company for the customer's requirements, because we understand what the customers actually ultimately want. And I know it's a very hard concept to get your head around. Sometimes walking away from work, but sometimes it's the right decision, because our principles and our quality will never ever be sacrificed.
Yeah,
that's the reason. It's like when we give a boiler quote, we will give 3 different options, and basically the installation criteria is identical for all of them. However, the accessories, the boiler, the warranties will all be a little bit better on each one. So you give customers the option so they can manage their expectations with their finances, because it is not our job as a company to say you have to have this. That's not our decision, because we don't understand that person's personal circumstances and all that kind of stuff. So the only thing we can do is give a description and a monetary value, and then it's up to the customer to go forward from that point. But like I say, the one thing, regardless of whether you're using a top of the range Rolls-Royce appliance or a budget appliance, the installation criteria does not change. The level of quality does not change.
And you mentioned before about sort of work on social media and the website and things like that. Obviously did a little bit of mystery shopping before the interview and had a quick look on the website. There were a couple of things that jumped out straight away that I was going, oh, that's fantastic. So what have been your top achievements over the last few years? What are you proudest of?
I think they have to be the awards. Daniel's really, we've been nominated for quite a few awards that Daniel can tell you more about, but they really have been our biggest achievements, because it ultimately shows what we're doing is the right thing.
You preempted, I guess, what I was pertaining towards in terms of that. So yeah, you've won various awards. The obvious question, and it brings it round to what makes you unique. Why? Why have you won so many awards or been nominated for so many awards? What makes you different?
I think what it comes down to is as a business, we kind of pride ourselves on just going out and doing the job is only a part of the job. It's that relationship you build up prior to getting the job with the customer at the quoting stage. Then during the quoting stage, sometimes there's alterations that you've got a lot of to and fro. I want this, I don't want that. There's a lot of speaking with the customer. And then not only then you have to conduct yourself correctly whilst carrying out the job, deal with any problems, and then also there's the follow-up after the job. You've got to let that customer be aware that regardless, they've just invested that, they've given you, that customer's given you, put their faith in you, so you have to make them understand that you're also repaying that faith by following up. Follow-up questions, asking just general emails. Is everything going okay? Do you have any questions? And I think all these things, all these tiny little details are what set companies aside from other companies.
I was going to say, as you said, because the system is the same. So actually what you're being awarded for is the quality of your service, the way that you interact, and the relationships that you're actually building by the sound of things is high up on the agenda. So things have obviously gone well. You've been recognized for your successes and for being different. Are there any mistakes that you've made in the last 22 years or whatever from Claire, in terms of what you were sort of saying, or mistakes that perhaps you inherited from 48 years ago that you've now worked on hard to change? If you had your time again, would you do anything slightly different?
I think as we've moved forward, we have actually realised that with the type of work, we've kind of got to the situation where we have said, no, we're not going to take that work on. I think that's what we probably inherited. You take on any work, you do. But I think as we've gone on and realised we are actually better taking the work that's suited to our work and those customers than every single job, because like we always explain to people, we do get a lot of people that You know, we give them prices for things and they'll come back and they'll say, well, I've been quoted this, will you knock your bill down? You know, will you knock your quote down? And the answer is no, because we want to provide as much aftercare as well as the quality of the work. And that's ultimately now, I think, why that's resulted in a lot of the awards and things, because that's how we do it.
It's shared values at the end of the day, isn't it? If they share your values, they will pay the appropriate amount. If they don't share your values, if they're shopping on price or whatever, it's okay to put your hand up and say, it's okay. It's not, you're just not right for us. You'd be right for someone else, but just not right for us. And that is a big shift that I guess we've seen over the last, 40, 50 years, where every job was a good job, and it was about, but I think some of this, I guess, boils down to the lack of personal interaction. So there was a lot more 50 years ago, there wasn't the internet. So everything was done on building personal relationships. So you only got offered jobs that you really built that trust and a relationship with in the first place. Now, in the world of the internet and social media, people, they don't need to know you. No. And therefore, you're going to have those filters in place. So that's a valuable lesson, and probably adapting to the times. So, I'm guess before we sort of wrap things up, what's next? Where do you see the business going, and where do you see the market going? So what's next for ST Plumbing and Heating?
Well, I think we're going to move. We started doing a lot of content creating to try and raise the level of quality within the trade, but not only to raise the level of quality within the trade. Also, what we have found, and this is a big key for what we found, is it's not just about educating other engineers and apprentices coming through. It's about educating customers as to what they should be. Now, we're not telling customers, you must go with us because we are the best and that kind of thing. That's not what we're saying. But what we're telling customers is what they should be expecting. Now, that gives the customer that information and that capability to be able to judge a good bad from a bad one. Which is something I don't think they've ever had in the past. So by us kind of showcasing our work and saying, look, this is what you should be getting from, I don't know, a boiler service. Nobody should ever be walking in and out of a boiler service in 15, 20 minutes, like happens a lot. And by us going through, then showing service procedures, all that kind of stuff, it shows people, oh, wait a minute. I haven't been getting that previously, and by educating the end user and the customers, then we find that it's had a really, really positive impact on us as a company as well.
No, absolutely, and being a subject matter expert isn't about saying we're brilliant. It's saying this is the overall subject. We're giving you the information. You will make a free choice. And if you want to discuss our values, then that obviously will move it in the right direction. So, and who's doing a lot of that? Is that falls under yourself, Claire, or do you have external marketeers, or?
Yeah, I kind of deal with all the social media. Daniel does some of them. He looks after Instagram and TikTok. I look after Facebook and LinkedIn, because we kind of know what content, we need to create.
Yeah, different medias have different content.
Which platform. So yeah, we deal with it all in-house.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, by the sound of things are in a healthy position. It's moving forward. You're bucking the trend of what maybe people stereotype the trades kind of industries as. That and the best thing that I heard is you're really clear on your values, and that will go a long way to move forward. So that's bringing us towards the end of the interview. Bit of a sense check, Claire, Daniel, is there anything we've not covered that you'd like to add, or have we pretty much put the world to rights, I guess?
Yeah, I think we've pretty much
covered. No, I think we've pretty much gone through everything. Yeah, that's fine.
Fantastic, excellent. Well, all that remains to be said. Big thank you for Claire and Daniel for sharing everything today. It's been fascinating learning about your journey, where it's come from, and more importantly, where you're heading and why. Thank you to everyone else who's been watching this. If you're wanting to, just like Claire and Daniel, promote your company, if you're wanting to record your own interview, just simply get in touch. When we post these interviews, we'll put clear directions of how to get in touch, what to do, so you can actually record yourself. But all that remains to be said then is a big thank you again to Claire, and also to Daniel. Thank you for sharing. It's been absolutely fascinating, and thank you for everyone watching yet another of our Business Spotlight interviews. We'll see you soon. Keep smiling.